Hello and welcome to the Word, bringing you the good news of Jesus Christ every day from the order of preachers around the world. Today, the Church celebrates Saturday of the 13th week in Ordinary Time. And from the United States, we hear from Katie Beadle Rice. Katie lives in Boise, Idaho, and is the interim director of the Center for Children and Theology, an ecumenical nonprofit that supports adults nurturing children's spirituality. Her preaching today is entitled Justice, Mercy, and Peace.
A reading from the book of the prophet Amos. Thus says the Lord, on that day I will raise up the fallen hut of David. I will wall up its breaches, raise up its ruins, and rebuild it as in the days of old, that they may conquer what is left of Edom and all the nations that shall bear my name, say I, the Lord, who will do this. Yes, days are coming, says the Lord, when the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the vintager him who sows the seed. The juice of grapes shall drip down the mountains, and all the hills shall run with it. I will bring about the restoration of my people Israel. They shall rebuild and inhabit their ruined cities. Plant vineyards and drink the wine. Set out gardens and eat the fruits. I will plant them upon their own ground. Never again shall they be plucked from the land that I have given them, say I, the Lord your God. For the past several days, we've been reading passages from the book of the prophet Amos. Like all the prophetic books, it holds two distinct things together in one breath, heralding both the God of justice and the God of mercy. In Tuesday's reading, God, through Amos, tells the people, "You alone have I favored, more than all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for your crimes. Prepare to meet your God, O Israel." On Wednesday, we hear the prophet say that since the people had not hated evil and loved God, God in turn spurns their feasts and takes no pleasure in their worship. And on Thursday, the judgment reaches a climax when Amos relays, Israel shall be exiled from its land. But though the prophets clearly envision a God of complete justice, they never end there with only one image of the Lord. And so today's reading brings us to the end of Amos's book, and instead of being left with punishment and exile, the God of complete mercy speaks of restoration and tender care. This complexity can be difficult for us. We long to cling to one truth: God is just, or God is merciful. But the prophetic language invites us into the mystery of the one who can contain all. In his book, Not in God's Name, Confronting Religious Violence, Rabbi Jonathan Sacks notes the uniqueness of the prophet's stance, writing, "The Hebrew Bible is the supreme example of that rarest of phenomena, a national literature of self-criticism. Other ancient civilizations recorded their victories. The Israelites recorded their failures. It is what the Mosaic and prophetic books are about." Rather than blame the caprices of gods, as the myths of neighboring nations did, the prophets called Israel to unflinching honesty in recognizing their own culpability, while also proclaiming the surprising truth: in all of their failure and weakness, they remain beloved, made in the image and likeness of their Creator, and called into covenant relationship with their God, a relationship desired so much that they were given the ultimate freedom to accept or reject it. And while the prophets point to the consequences of freedom misused, they also point to God's response: restoration, renewal, and the ongoing divine dream of peace. a dream which today's responsorial psalm reminds us of. The Lord speaks of peace to his people. Not just a feeling or an aspiration, this peace comes about, the psalmist tells us, when kindness and truth meet, and justice looks down from heaven. The biblical texts that we read tell us not only of events that occurred long ago in a time and culture that can seem very different from our own, but also of the universal human story. We read the words of the prophets in our own time. Can we hear their call? Can we too look unflinchingly at the shadow and light of our own history and learn to hold the complexity of being both deeply flawed and wholly loved? Can we accept words of reproach and calls to conversion while not losing hope in the promise of a God who would raise up and rebuild? Let us have the courage to live into the complexity of all that it means to be a human being, called to relationship with the one who is both complete justice and complete mercy.